Today we're exploring, well, a pretty different way to think about understanding complex fintech solutions.
Yeah, it's about moving beyond just the standard product demo, right?
Exactly. We're digging into an article by Gary Orendi called Beyond the Demo: Empowering Fintech Sales Through Smarter Questions and Tech.
And Gary, he really nails a common frustration, I think, for anyone who's had to evaluate sophisticated software.
Oh, definitely. Sitting through demos that maybe don't quite get to what you need to know.
Right. So much time potentially wasted. Rendy's article dives into that inefficiency, especially in fintech sales.
Yeah, he points out the real issues. Sales teams spending time on leads that aren't quite right, maybe lower conversion rates than hoped for, and just the sheer effort involved for everyone.
That kind of nagging feeling that, there must be a smarter way for both sides.
Precisely. And that leads to what Arendi calls the demo dilemma.
The demo dilemma. Okay.
Yeah, the idea that defaulting to a demo might actually stop us from digging deeper into what a prospect, like a potential buyer, truly needs.
So we jump to showing the features before fully understanding the problem we're meant to solve.
You got it. It reminds me of Hal Gregerson's book, Questions Are the Answer.
Oh, interesting connection.
Yeah, Gregerson's whole point is that the real breakthroughs come from asking the right questions, not just having all the answers ready.
And demos can easily become just
Yeah.
presenting answers.
Yeah.
Show and tell, basically.
Instead of maybe a collaborative problem-solving session.
Exactly. So this new approach Arendi suggests, it really shifts the power, particularly for the technology buyer, puts them more in the driver's seat from the get-go.
Okay, so let's unpack that. If
All right.
I'm the one evaluating a fintech tool, how does this actually benefit me?
Well, the first big change is this focus on self-directed learning.
Self-directed.
Yeah. So instead of just waiting for a scheduled demo,
Yeah.
the idea is to provide really comprehensive, well-organized documentation. Arendi calls it scrapable,
Scrapable,
meaning it's set up so you can easily use tools, maybe even AI tools like LLMs, large language models, to search and analyze it effectively.
I see. So rather than just listening, I could actively query the information myself, ask really specific things.
Exactly. Like, how does this integrate with our current CRM? Or, what are the specific data encryption methods used?
And get answers immediately, without waiting for the demo slot.
That's the idea. You get those granular, critical details features, integration, security, compliance, whatever matters most to your decision right away. You're controlling that initial deep dive.
That definitely flips the script. You're investigating, not just being shown things.
Right. It puts you in charge of figuring out if it aligns with your actual needs, much more informed from the start.
Okay, so more control, less waiting. What else?
Well, building on that, using something like an LLM with this good documentation
Yeah.
lets you do a much more tailored analysis.
Tailored how?
Imagine you have a very specific compliance requirement. Instead of hunting through pages or asking in a demo, you could say, ask the LLM, show me all sections related to GDPR compliance and data processing agreements.
It pulls that right out for you.
Potentially, yes, or helps you find it instantly. So you can analyze the solution against your precise checklist and spot potential gaps or questions before you even schedule a call.
So you're going into any conversation much better prepared, more informed.
Exactly. You know what you need to ask about specifically. And then to really solidify things, another key piece is often a freemium version or a sandbox environment.
Haha, hands-on access.
Yes. A chance to actually try the key features, test the workflows you care about based on what you learned from the docs in your analysis.
Right, because reading about it is one thing, but actually clicking through, maybe with some sample data, that's different.
Totally different level of understanding.
Yeah.
You validate what you've read, you see how it really works in practice.
And probably come up with even better questions.
Definitely. Your questions become much more practical, grounded in your actual experience with the tool. I tried doing X, but encountered Y. How does that work? Not just theoretical stuff.
Which then changes the nature of the eventual conversation with the sales team, I guess.
Absolutely. Arendi calls them focused consultations.
Right.
It's not that generic product tour anymore.
Because you've already done the basics yourself.
Right. The conversation centers on your specific findings, the questions that came up during your exploration and testing, the unique challenges your company has.
So it's a much better use of everyone's time. Especially mine, if I'm the buyer.
Exactly. You're not sitting through stuff you already know or don't care about. You're diving deep on what's relevant to you based on the work you've already done. It's empowering.
Okay, so for the buyer, more control, deeper understanding up front, ability to test things out, and then really focused, efficient conversations. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's about empowering that buyer to learn, analyze, and then engage meaningfully.
Now, what about the flip side? From the perspective of the fintech company, the seller, what's in it for them?
Well, huge efficiency gains, for starters.
How so?
Think about it. If potential buyers can qualify themselves better using the documentation and sandbox.
The sales team spends less time on demos for people who aren't a good fit anyway.
Exactly. They're not wasting cycles on those initial, often unproductive introductory demos. They can focus their energy on prospects who've already shown genuine interest and understanding.
Which presumably means the leads they do talk to are higher quality.
That's the theory. Prospects who've invested time engaging with the docs, maybe used an LLM, played in the sandbox, they're likely much more serious and a better fit. Conversion rates should improve.
Makes sense. And those conversations themselves must be clear too.
Definitely more productive.
Yeah.
They're starting from a foundation of shared understanding based on the prospect's own research and specific questions.
Let me show you the basics more. Okay, let's solve your specific problem.
Precisely. It allows for a clearer path towards figuring out implementation, addressing real sticking points, rather than just covering generic features.
So, leaner sales cycles, better leads, more focused discussions seems like a win for the sales team too.
It really positions them more as expert consultants rather than just presenters.
Okay, are there any potential downsides or concerns people might raise about this approach?
Sure. Arendi touches on a couple. Maybe not everyone is comfortable using LLMs yet, though that's changing fast.
Right, the tech is still relatively new for some.
And also the role of visuals. Some complex workflows might still benefit from a visual walkthrough.
So demos aren't completely dead.
Not necessarily, but their role changes. Instead of a broad overview, maybe you use short, targeted videos or walkthroughs embedded in the documentation to explain a specific complex process that a user asked about. It supplements the self-learning rather than replacing it.
Ah, okay. So visuals answer specific questions, not just provide a generic tour.
Exactly. It's about providing the right information in the right format at the right time, driven by the buyer's inquiry.
Got it. So summing up then, this shift Gary Arendi describes, it's about moving away from the demo as the default starting point.
Yeah, towards a model where the buyer is empowered with great documentation, tools like LLMs, maybe sandbox access,
Allowing them to learn and analyze on their own terms.
which leads to more qualified leads and focused conversations for the seller.
Resulting in, hopefully, faster sales cycles, better decisions, higher conversions, a more efficient process overall.
Right. The core idea, echoing Gregerson, is shifting from just presenting answers to empowering people to ask their own questions. Better outcomes for everyone involved.
It's a really interesting perspective shift. So maybe a final thought for our listeners. How might embracing this kind of inquiry-driven approach change how you evaluate new technologies or solutions, even outside of fintech, in your own work or life? Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought. It's about the power of asking the right questions.